What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yugioh Sevens Summary / preview analysis. Today, guys, we are going to be going over the episode 22 cast list along with the preview for this episode. So, without further ado, guys, let's get straight into it. And I will say, though, this is definitely going to be a very interesting episode. So, the episode title is The Sealed Devil. Yugioh and his friends used the coupons they got from Mimi and enjoyed a meal at the AR restaurant. There, they felt that someone was watching them, and it turned out to be Arya Rada. After bringing Rook to the dishwashing room, Arya begins a cheating duel against him. For some reason, Rook couldn't use his special power, Rook Devil. And let's go into the cast, which is not really that big. So for the cast list, we got Yugioh, Rook, Gakuto, Roman, Kaizo, Arya, Rada, AI Robots, and Extra. So, I will say this though, before we get into the full talk, I did not expect this at all. Because I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I did not think Rook was going to duel again for the rest of this arc, at least. Because, and I will say this though, I did read a little bit ahead. I normally don't like to do that just because of the fact that, I like to keep myself unaware of too far occurrences that are going to be happening in the next couple of episodes. I don't like to know that much ahead, but it came out pretty early when I saw it, and I ended up seeing it anyway. So I will say this though, the arc is, or at least involving Neil, I think might be ending sooner than we thought. Or maybe that's just me overlooking it, but it does talk, because, you know what, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I am actually going to say some information from episode 23. I'm not going to read the summary because I'm going to still do a video on that, but what I'm going to do is, hopefully there's a timestamp right here. I'm going to actually talk about what I saw from the episode 23. If you don't want to know anything about 23, just skip to the time that I have in this video and then go and watch the rest of my thoughts on the episode 22 summary, just because I think this is something pretty important, and I feel like I wanted to kind of talk about this, and this kind of impacts how I kind of talk about this episode summary. So if you guys skipped, I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video. But if you're going to watch this part, let's get into it. So in the episode 22, or in the 23, excuse me, they end up reaching Neil already. In the episode's cast, or not in the cast list, in the summary, because there is no cast list, they actually meet up with Neil, which is pretty interesting. I didn't think we would actually get up to Neil until episode 25, but that's what this episode, or this summary was reading, was that we would already reach Neil, which is pretty interesting, I will say. And it was confirmed that episode 26 will be the last episode for this arc. So we are like well, technically 4 if you want to count 23 as an episode. We are 4 episodes ahead of when this arc is going to end. Now, it could also be that there is going to be a 2-part duel to this, like the Yugioh versus Roa duel for Yugioh versus Neil. But this could also mean that maybe someone else on Team Yugioh is going to duel Neil, maybe Roman, maybe Gakuto, who knows, because they have ice monsters that we have not seen yet, so that might be a possibility. But I'm going to talk about that more when I actually do the summary and cast list, maybe when we get a little bit more information, because normally the summary will update. I've seen a couple of times before, because when I did episodes 10, 11, and 12, I did them so early that there was no cast list at all. In fact, when I read the summary actually changed. Like, it will change, so maybe we'll get a little bit more information. I don't know, so how about we actually jump back into the episode 22 summary. Alright guys, I am back, so let's get right back into it. I will say though, it was very interesting that Arya Rada is actually returning in this episode again. Honestly, after episode, I think it was 16, I didn't think we would ever see him again. Just because of the fact that, he didn't really... I remember he got locked outside the door, and I thought that was going to be it. And it seems like they went by back to the AI restaurant, so I guess that kind of makes sense. It also makes sense why he's kind of targeting Rook in this scenario, because if you remember from episode 16 when he dueled Roman, Rook used his power to actually stop him from cheating. Remember, the cards would go back into his duel disc up through to 7, and it would choose from his... no. It went through to 7 back down into his deck and went back up. I had to think about how the 7 worked for a second. That was pretty bad. But anyway, this is going to be a very interesting duel for Rook. Because, like the summary says, this is going to be a cheating duel against Rook. And basically what's going to happen is Arya is going to be able to cheat without any precautions at all. Apparently Rook can't activate his power. He has to have lost his watch or something. I mean, Rook, from how dumb he's been shown in these last couple episodes, I will not be surprised if he ended up losing his watch and that was the reason why his power would not activate. I would be very or maybe his watch got broken, I don't know. It has to be something with his watch, because every time Rook has used his devil power, his watch was on his arm. Now, if I'm wrong on that, someone's going to tell me in the comment section below. I already know it, but I swear that every single scene that we've seen Rook use his devil power, he had the watch on his wrist. So it has to be something with that watch that makes him not being able to cheat. I will say this, though, and I remember when I was doing episode 21 review before I actually looked at the summary, because I don't like to look at them early before I do the episode reviews, just because I want to make sure when I'm doing the review I don't try to mention stuff early like I ended up doing. But when I saw that Rook was gonna duel, because when I initially did the video, I thought of 3 possible ways the show could have gone. The first option being that Yugioh and Co will get the 5 penalties, Yugioh versus Neil will happen, and that will be the end of the arc. Second option, 3 to 4 losses, still makes it in test, Yugioh versus Neil, it finishes it off. This one just confirmed, after reading this just confirmed the third possibility, which is they're going to only do the 1 penalty and that's going to be it. Now, there is a chance that it might still happen, but we're just going to have to see going further down the line. Right now, it just seems like that's not going to be the possibility. I mean, the fact that Metsuboro won the last duel, I think it kind of confirmed it. Even the Yugioh duel kind of confirmed it, because Rook is not going to lose to Arya Rada. I don't think this is a worried duel you guys should be worried about. Rook is going to win. There's no way Arya is going to win. I would be actually very surprised if Arya won, because it's a cheater. I don't think there's ever been a cheater that won. I guess you can say Revolver versus Lightning, but I don't like to remember what happened in that, so maybe that's just me going off of personal. But normally, the person that cheats in the duel always loses. That's always been a trend with Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think they're gonna follow the same way. I don't think there's a reason why Arya should win anyways, unless he's gonna duel Roman again. Maybe that can happen. I have no idea. But the only way I see Rook potentially losing was if he kind of had that inner turmoil with himself. Sorry if I couldn't say the word right. I don't know why I couldn't say it. Because if you remember in the duel with Schrodinger, he was kind of conflicting about himself with Yugioh wanting to become the Duel King as well. But that's already been resolved. Why would you come back to that? But I guess again, they kind of did the whole spy thing with Rook. Remember, Rook always blames Rowan for being a spy. We saw that in episode 16 as well. So maybe that conflict is going to come back. I really hope they don't do it again, because they're just reusing stuff they did from the last duel, which would make the Schrodinger duel more useless than it already was, or more meaningless, I should say. But who knows? Maybe that's what they're going to end up doing. I really hope that's not the case, but we're just going to have to see. And yeah, that's really going to be it. There isn't much to talk about without spoiling anything else for it. Maybe Rook will lose, maybe Rook will win. I will say this, though, it's going to be an easy one. Just don't worry about it. Rook's going to win. That's it. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this summary/preview analysis. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what your thoughts about this summary down description below. Did you think it was very surprising that Rook was going to duel, or did you know that Rook was going to duel anyway? Also, if you want to kind of mention something about episode 23, I know there's a way. I think it's if you just do a big amount of spaces. If you're going to talk anything about episode 23, just put in the description of your comments spoiler and try to make it scroll down enough to where people can't see what you're talking about, just in case people that don't want to know anything about episode 23 and say that is an episode 23 spoiler. So if you do that, I would really appreciate it. I don't want to have to delete your comments because you wanted to spoil something. So if you guys want to talk about something 23, make sure that you go into the comments and make sure you space it enough to where people can't see your comments. That is all I ask for. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.